Avatar: The Way of Water might not have had an impressive first week, but its numbers have certainly persisted well past the expected margins over time. You know what they say, slow and steady reap heavy rewards. It looks like James Cameron doesn't have to worry about building popularity for the Avatar movies because his ideas are so good that word of mouth is enough to bring in growing revenue. So let's get right into the details. First off, Avatar is steadily closing on $2 billion. This past weekend saw the debut of several new movies, including Plane and House Party, but the flicks Avatar: The Way of Water and Megan, which is about a murderous doll, did better at the box office than the other new movies. Studio estimations show that the two survivors have reclaimed their places at the top of the charts. The Avatar sequel maintained its reign at the box office for a fifth consecutive weekend, collecting an estimated $31.1 million by January 15th, Sunday's close of business. It's anticipated that the number would be reaching $38.5 million by the time the Martin Luther King holiday concludes on Monday, January 16th. After spending yet another day at the box office on Sunday, the film's domestic total surpassed $562.9 million, making it the 13th greatest of all time, while the film's worldwide total hits $1.89 billion. Avatar 2 will need to surpass at least $1.92 billion in global sales for it to race past Spider-Man: No Way Home, which holds the record for the sixth highest grossing film of all time. Paul de Garabedian, a senior media analyst at Comscore, responded to a question regarding the first weekend of release by saying there was a great expectation and a lot of skeptics. As might be anticipated by a picture directed by James Cameron, Avatar has been making rapid progress up the charts at both domestic and foreign box offices. The fact that it would bring in more than $2 billion is certainly something that he expected from the very beginning of the project. We've learned not to underestimate him from here on out. Up next, the cinema triumphs dinners in front of the TV. Even if streaming services have become increasingly popular, James Cameron believes that the success of Avatar: The Way of Water at the box office serves as a reminder that moviegoers still value going to the theater. Cameron discusses his thoughts on the success of the Avatar sequel with Variety during the Golden Globes official digital pre-show. The Way of Water has grossed over $1.7 billion, making it the ninth best grossing film of all time. The film's $1.19 billion worldwide gross places it behind just Avatar, Avengers: Endgame, Titanic, and Avengers: Infinity War as the fifth highest grossing international release of all time. It indicates that three of Cameron's films rank among the top 5 most grossing films abroad. Rather than considering it in those terms, Cameron's focused on getting audiences back into the cinemas all around the world to see Avatar 2. Even in China, with its significant increases of COVID, people are returning to the theaters. Cameron complains that widespread complaints about boredom at home reflect a growing social sentiment. A bit later in the conversation, Cameron commented on how people who text in the theater, "They're missing the point," said Cameron impassively, and we can see where he's coming from. People agree to give their movie their full focus for at least 2 hours when they head to the theater. The key for them is to make the proactive decision to fully immerse themselves. Then again, it's not really that big of a deal because whether these people pay attention or not, their money's in his bag, and he can rest well knowing that he's got more fans than absent watchers, if not haters. Now for how the series won't be slowing down on production anytime soon. Recently, in an episode of Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, James Cameron confidently said that Avatar: The Way of Water will bring in the money needed for the next sequels in the series to be produced. The statement was made only a few weeks ago. It seems probable that the film's production expenditures will be paid over the next few days, given the film's current pace. This means that Cameron will be happily stuck in the situation and forced to create the other films regardless of what occurs. He has a clear plan for the next 6 to 7 years of his life and how he intends to spend that time. The idea behind this is that everything in the Avatar universe will work out just fine in the end. Since they have already filmed and edited the entirety of the third film, they are now in post-production phase while they are finishing the CGI effects. He's convinced that his team will soon have a chat with the upper executive executives at Disney to discuss the next steps now that Avatar 3 has been completed and is off their plate. After that, the numbers Avatar 4 and 5 are written down on a piece of paper. The vast bulk of the number 4 isn't yet complete and is still being written at this moment. They have now started operating as their own independent franchise and have put in motion a tale that may be explored further over the course of a number of films. Then again, let's just hope for the movies to have an uninterrupted end. Coming up, James Cameron's got some strong opinions about streaming services. He's a pretty opinionated man, but he's got the facts to back himself. This time, he's got his frustration set on streaming platforms. The seasoned director has an interesting way of describing the platforms that the majority of people use to watch the overwhelming amount of TV episodes and movies. He calls them Ponzi schemes. Cameron noted in an interview from the podcast The Business, which is hosted by entertainment writer Kim Masters, the studios resorted to streaming as a method to stop the decline in demand when faced with the obstacles posted by theaters during pandemic lockdowns. But he stated that he had the impression that everyone got caught up in it, and that he believed to be somewhat of a marketing technique aimed to appease investors at a time when a shaken sector was on its knees. According to him, everyone had a nice little story for Wall Street about how they were going to provide all this material. And from what he's seen from a distance, because he wasn't actively participating in the game, it felt like everyone was pouring down money and to make content to try and create new or continually refreshed flow. But it seems like the typical user has to have 8 or 10 separate memberships in order to see all that's available. On the surface, it appears to be an enormous Ponzi scheme that cannot be maintained. I think there's going to be some consolidation. He's not far off, and a lot of streaming platform users have complained about having to hop from one to another for certain shows. Next up, does this mean he's not open to making Avatar a TV show? Avatar was made for the theater. No doubts, no if, no buts, but there's still some hope. Yet there's one huge challenge in adapting it for television, but there's also a hidden benefit for the brand. Converting James Cameron's Avatar films into a television series is a formidable challenge, but one that might turn out to be a boon. The groundbreaking motion capture technology, spectacular effects, and usage of 3D that went into the original Avatar film were widely lauded after its theatrical premiere. The film, which centers around the blue-skinned, 10-foot-tall aliens as Na'vi in their struggle with mankind, was designed from the start to be experienced in a theater. At the time, it can't be designed with the impressive CGI and meticulously designed settings, and Avatar helped make the film a success and immersed viewers in the world of Pandora. The success of Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel to Avatar, indicates that viewers are eager for new stories set in this universe. The fact that Avatar: The Way of Water was so well received is encouraging, but even after 2 movies, there is still plenty of mysteries to solve and paths to pursue in Pandora's history. Loyal fans will surely love to delve deep into everything Pandora. The problem with James Cameron's universe lacking in fully rich mythology might be accomplished by developing the Avatar franchise into a spin-off TV series. There's a major obstacle to this, though. The nature of this issue, though, bodes well for the Avatar franchise's future. Finally, Cameron's not entirely opposed to the idea of a TV show in general. James Cameron has been pretty vocal about being interested in seeing more of Pandora explored in a TV series. Even if they could, it would take at least a decade to do it. James Cameron said in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that Avatar wouldn't work well on television because of the meticulous approach to realistic CGI required to construct the characters. Another issue is that James Cameron's Avatar technology isn't quite there yet. Pandora and the Na'vi people present visually rich and immersive surroundings that are best experienced on the big screen. To make a TV movie on par with the previous Avatar films would be an enormous challenge for the company. A positive outcome for this isn't ruled out, though. This would prevent Disney from flooding its streaming site with Avatar-related content and allow the films to continue functioning as self-contained theatrical series, which is good for both the continuity of the visual effects and the canon. Even if James Cameron's sci-fi movie Avatar isn't made into a TV series, he may develop the universe's lore further through comic books and novels. What's more, Cameron's universe can be expanded if a TV series based on Avatar is created and focused focuses on the lives of the other Na'vi clans. Avatar's Na'vi culture is distinct from our own, and it would be intriguing to learn if any of the Na'vi are capable of evil and could potentially be villains as well. This is a potential future storyline that the director himself has talked about. There's still a lot to learn about Pandora and its inhabitants, no matter what form the Avatar franchise takes in the future. So what do you guys think? Does the future of Avatar look promising? Let us know in the comments below. And if this is the kind of content you like to watch, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. See you next time.